This is CGTN, China Global Television Network.
Kenya has acquired an additional 3.9% stake in Chimphondah Afrique for $9.2 million. The extra capital has moved Kenya's shareholding in the firm to 18.72% from the 14.82% it held in December. Now, Chimphondah Afrique is a Pan-African housing, finance and development institution. It has also received about $3.5 million additional capital subscription from the government of Cameroon. Now, 7 other nations have also given additional capital, bringing the received total in the last 6 months to about $18.02 million. Well, let's talk about the company's plans for the coming years. We're joined by Andrew Chimphondah. He's the managing director at Chimphondah Afrique. Great to have you with us today, sir. Now, of course, this year alone, we've seen the organization see about 8 nations giving the firm additional capital, also settling their capital subscription arrears, and also upping their capital subscription in Chimphondah Afrique. So certainly that brings, as we mentioned, fresh capital received this year so far to about $18 million. So, sir, take us through the company's plans for these new funds. What are your plans to finance new investments going forward?
Thank you very much, Uche. I hope you can hear me clearly. I would like to say that I want to take the opportunity to obviously greet your viewers and also to thank the member states that have shown great confidence in Chimphondah Afrique. Just a slight correction. So we've received additional capital from Tanzania of 2.7 million and also Democratic Republic of Congo, another 500,000. So for I think the 7 months to date in 2021, we've actually received $21 million in terms of capital from the 10 countries, the big ones being, of course, Kenya, you've mentioned, Cameroon, Mali, and of course, Tanzania now. So what is important is to note that capital is very important in terms of strengthening the balance sheet of Chimphondah Afrique. So our plans is to take the capital that's been paid to date, paid up capital is $150 million US. We intend to take that capital to be able to leverage debt from developmental financial institutions, another $600 million on a 1-to-4 leverage ratio. And that is what we're going to use now to fund housing projects throughout the 44 member states where we operate from. So we invest in project finance, through public-private partnerships, in low-cost, large-scale housing delivery, and also we invest in banks that are also providing mortgage loans, incremental microfinance loans for houses, so that at least we can deal with the demand side of housing through the creation of units of low-cost housing and also the supply side of housing.
Well, I'd just like to say thank you for that correction, but this additional capital and capital subscription certainly showing the confidence that African nations now have in Chimphondah Afrique, and it certainly has been a journey back to profitability for the organization. We all know back in 2017 it was heavily in debt. In March this year, you did announce a return to profitability for the 2020 financial year. Give us a sense of your strategy in getting the company's loan book and certainly its operations back in the green since your appointment in 2018.
Oh, thank you very much, Uche. So I think the first thing is having a supportive, strong and competent board to allow the management team, myself and the team, to be able to implement the board-approved strategies. So the first thing we did was we had a non-performing loan book. We had to now create a strategic business unit that's just focused on drawing the capital, or let's call it the cash that was locked into these non-performing loans. What we did was we completed the projects and then sold them off. We exercised our step-in rights so that we could collect cash from those projects. We collected in excess of $30 million from those non-performing loans. The other thing is we agreed a historic milestone what is called a debt restructure agreement with all our 8 lenders. In those 8 lenders, we've got 6 developmental financial institutions to take their debt, which was 3 years ago about $300 million, and say we're going to pay it off by 2024. I'm pleased to say that as I speak to you now, end of June 2021, we actually paid all the debt. We don't have any debt. We paid all our DFI lenders. We paid them the interest. We pay them their capital 3 months in advance. So, of course, the aggressive collection of our loan book, our existing loan book, and also our non-performing loan book allowed us to generate enough cash to pay them back. Mind you, we do not use the capital we've been receiving from our shareholders or member states. So that's been historic. So, of course, the reduction of at least more than 70 to 80% in finance costs or the interest we're paying these DFI lenders helped us reach profitability, number one. Number two, for us now starting to increase the assets under management post the debt restructure agreement, which was reached in May of 2020, we're now able to start lending again, of course, under stringent credit policies that we had implemented. And when you increase your assets under book, you also increase your interest income. And I think the other thing to note here is that, of course, we also employed stringent cost reduction kind of strategies, which have actually paid off. So it's been good. 5 years of, let's call it recurrent losses. We now posted a profit in 2020 of at least $2 million, and we expect to post a profit, of course, in 2021 as well. So that's been good because shareholders are happy that their capital that they're injecting into Shelter Africa is not being eroded. In actual fact, they'll be asking for paying dividends, and I hope that they'll reinvest that money that they want for dividends into supporting housing projects throughout the whole of Africa.
Right. And also, in addition to lending again, we know you've said that you're reviewing various capital raising options, including issuing local currency bonds, possibly. You've also entered into a partnership with the World Bank to boost your capital market program. What progress have you made in that area?
Thanks, Uche. Well, I have to obviously express my gratitude to the World Bank because they gave us a technical assistance grant of $200,000 to assist us to effectively enter into the local capital markets. Okay, so I'm pleased to say that as I speak to you today, we are in the process of launching in 2021 a $500 million bond program in Nigeria. That will be the equivalent of 250 billion nairas that are going to be used to support low-cost housing projects in Nigeria. So that's very exciting. I've just come from Nigeria now. I actually came this morning to ensure that we're on board in that. So we're on track. August, September, we should be launching that. And then that will allow us to mitigate the biggest problem of our clients, whereby they couldn't handle the foreign exchange exposure risk, because we were always lending to them in dollars. But now Shelter Africa will be lending in local currencies. Again, that's $500 million in Nigeria, which is West Africa. In East Africa, we will be looking at launching first ever an East Africa bond that will cover Rwanda, Uganda, Tanzania, and of course Kenya for $500 million as well. We'll be working with the Capital Markets Authority on that. It's very exciting. So those countries can be able to draw housing loans in local currency. This includes big established developers and also, of course, tier 1, tier 2 banks that are into housing finance. And then, of course, the Francophone side, we expect to be looking at the same, maybe 200 million for Francophone West Africa. So we've been very excited because the bond program is on board. And of course, we are approaching our existing developmental financial institution lenders that we fully paid up for new fresh loans because they're able to give us long-term loans at a very competitive interest rate to allow us then to on-lend that on a wholesale basis to other banks in Africa, in the 44 countries we operate in, and of course, to other developers.
Right. Well, we do have to leave it there, Mr. Chimphondah. We'll certainly be watching closely, and thank you so much for your insights today. That, of course, was Mr. Andrew Chimphondah, Managing Director at Shelter Africa.